So we got sort of dropped at the train station, and I think that was the first thing I was like, wow, this is like people like they are in magazines here, you know. Like, I don't know if we felt daunted. I can't really remember feelings like that as a kid, you know. Like, it was probably more of an excitement than it was like any sort of fear or apprehension about it. It was just like, let's just get on it then. Like, you're never going to get like that if you just sit and stand by and watch, you know what I mean? Like, I think it was more when I was maybe 14, 15, I think the buzzy started to become an actual thing. Especially spending more time there in all weathers. Like, I think when I was younger, I probably didn't go out if it was raining. Whereas it became such a necessity that rain or shine, I'm going out. Don't care, you know. The people that like stick out in my head are obviously like my sort of generation, I'd say. And so you got like Paul Norris, Carter. Then maybe a bit later, people like John Aldridge, Jay Bancroft. Those guys really were like, they were the ones I was watching all the time. They were a bit close to my age. And then obviously got Rob Selly, Paul Hayward. I knew who they were. I'd been told about them. I'd seen them in magazines and stuff. So it was like when they were there, that was the kind of time I'd let myself just sort of sit and watch. I think definitely watching other people that were better than you and skating with them and talking to them and receiving criticism and feedback, if you will. Like, not that it's as formal as that, but you know, people will openly say like, oh, if you just put your foot here, you put your foot here. So there's definitely like a growth spurt as soon as you start entering that sort of circle. I kind of like, if I think about it now, I kind of find it a bit funny. I probably shouldn't, you know, because like, I think people genuinely, it was like they feared for their lives the way they jump out of the way. Just from the moment you hear a board hit the floor, going through shopping centre and outside the shopping centre, people are very jumpy as soon as they hear that noise. They're quite loud, I suppose. We didn't see things as having boundaries in the sea. There was no, to us, there is no such thing as you can't go here, you can't go here. It's like exploring, you know, your kids exploring your surroundings, getting to know what we classed as ours, I guess. I think my mum showed me an advert in The Citizen saying that there was a consultation to start. I think it just reached that point where it was like, someone's got to intervene. It's another thing like when skateboarding became serious for me, but I remember definitely thinking like, feeling like it was something special was going on there. There was definitely something about it that made me think, somebody's taking us seriously, something was going to come out of it. That's probably what made me keep going. We had Richard, who he could speak to people that would never speak to us and put us across as not what they think we are, you know. As it started, what we wanted a skate park. We wanted somewhere for us to go and skateboard. Remember they had the talk in the library. Listening to things like that can make us think in a different way to throw out these catalogues of skate parks and start to think like, you know, you're losing spots hand over fist. You lost the beige, like that's gone. You can't skate there anymore. So it's that kind of thinking that made us think, what do we like in Milton Keynes to skate? And that's what we want. I think when we first started to be shown visualizations of what the buzzy could look like, it was kind of like somebody's finally done it. Somebody's finally cracked that little part of all of our brains open and gone like this. It just sort of exploded, and there was people filming all the time. There was photos all the time. You almost like every single time you bought a Sidewalk, someone had a photo in it. It was people from Milton Keynes having photos in it of like at the buzzy, and nearly monthly somebody had a first light from Milton Keynes. I was approached by Richard Farrington shortly after I'd finished college. I was probably like 19, 20 or something, skating all the time. And I didn't know what to do with my life, you know. And yeah, so the job was put to me as a design trainee. Part of my job while I was there was to look at a project inspired by like the moving units, blocks that they were designed in a way they could be picked up by a forklift truck, reconfigure an area. By this point, we started talking about the South City Skate Plaza, which is situated behind the other council building. Central Milton Keynes. Definitely that position was pretty unique. Still is. Like, if I ever tell people about what I used to do, they're like, really? That was a thing? That you can do that? I think from when I first started, 11-year-old Josh wants to say the train station. Teenage Josh wants to say Buzzy. And then I think thinking back now, what I'd like to skate a lot would be the old curve block that was at the theatre. And then tricks over the block, and then the alleyway as well with the two, with the, yeah. That's I reckon best, one of the best spots that was in MK. Skateboarding has given me a friendship. I think was the main thing. You know, like, I have a very, very small, close-knit group of friends, and friends I wouldn't expect as well. Me and Richard Frampton would never have ever crossed paths had it not been for Skate MK. Like, Richard drives to Brighton to see me and see my kids and stuff, you know, like, that's the kind of thing it's given you, is like that sense of like a weird community that skateboarding is very odd.